I don't want to float like George, okay? I don't want to float around here, all right? I'm good. I'm a smart kid. I'm not an idiot who's going to just, walk up and talk to some creepy clown in the sewer. I never understood that, man. I don't feel like I was that naive as a child.
I don't think I
That
was
would
either.
just be like, some guy's like, oh, hi, Georgie. I'm going to be like, yo, you sound freaky. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
I don't need that boat. I can make
Yeah.
another boat. Why is that boat so special? It's a piece of paper.
Exactly.
Is it worth losing your arm is the question.
Please listen carefully.
Hello and welcome to the Film Reviewed podcast. I am Zach.
I'm Amanda.
On today's episode, we have a very special guest who is Elizabeth Harding, and she is a talented director, cinematographer, and producer. But first, let's get into some film and television industry news. So Star Wars is being projected to have a $200 million domestic opening.
That's crazy.
It is,
That's
right?
that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, to me it's kind of crazy. I mean, that's according to tracking services, so I'm not sure if that's, I don't know, do you think that's low or high?
Well, okay. I mean, let's look at this, okay? Force Awakens had the domestic opening of $248 million, right? Now, keep in mind that was the first, it was the next Star Wars movie, after, I think, Revenge of the Sith, right? From like 2005.
Yeah. We did the prequels that shall not be named.
Well, my point is it was the first big thing for Star Wars, since that, right? So all of a sudden you have all these people who are, paying attention and they're super interested in it. And it kind of sets a whole new tone for Star Wars. But at the same time, Rogue One only had, I think their opening was 155 million, but it wasn't a part of the same series. So.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean, I think that Rogue One, ironically enough, might be a better, I guess, jumping off point or a metric to measure by, only in the sense that, it was after the Star Wars hype had already kind of settled and people were like, all right, Star Wars is here for a while. Disney has a hold of this. We know that there's going to be probably 35 more films, realistically. Yeah. But at the same time, it is Rogue One, which isn't technically an episodic film like you had mentioned earlier. So
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, the hype train's real, man. I mean, I'm on that hype train.
I am too, for sure.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to buy tickets because I'm going to be moving back to the States here at the end of the month. So I didn't know where I was going to be. So it'll probably be January when I finally get to see it, which is going to suck. I'm going to have to avoid all social media, which is really hard when you do a podcast. And part of the job is being on social media. So please, no one tell me about Last Jedi.
And I'm sure no one will. Don't worry. You'll be fine.
You can talk about porgs. I could care less about the porgs. Talk about porgs. I feel like now it's just going to be a bunch of porgs being tweeted at me.
They're so cute. How could you not talk about them?
It's interesting. I read I saw a headline. I didn't actually read the article. It was saying that the cast has mixed views on the porgs. So I'm not entirely sure what that means. But how could you not? I mean, I could understand maybe Jar Jar Binks. He's not exactly adorable. But those porgs, I mean, I want one for my desk.
Me
I want a
too.
little stuffed pork. That sounds
I want
really
a real
creepy.
one.
Not like a taxidermy. Whoa, man. You want a taxidermy porg?
No, like an alive one, like a pet.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a lot less Norman Bates.
Yeah. Well.
I want to kill it, and then I want to stuff it and put it on my desk. My God. So, well, we got a really interesting insight into the dark side of Amanda's mind there. So that exists.
You are welcome.
God.
There you go.
Another big story that came out, which was the Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead crossover character was finally announced, and it's going to be Morgan, who has been portrayed by the great Lenny James, amazing actor. It's interesting in the sense that, Morgan, or just in general, the Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead for the longest time was told that there will never be a crossover. And then as Fear the Walking Dead got over its slump in season 2 and became popular again, people were like, you know what, maybe we should do a crossover, and I guess they're listening. It looks like Morgan's going to appear in the 4th season of Fear the Walking Dead. Yeah, I know that. Do you watch Fear the Walking Dead, or do you watch Walking Dead?
I've seen some episodes. I think I've seen the very first season of Walking Dead, not Fear the Walking Dead at all, and maybe the parts of the 2nd season as well.
All right, yeah, because the thing is, like, an important distinction between the two is obviously they're different casts and everything, different locations, but also Fear the Walking Dead is on a way earlier timeline, so that's been giving a lot of fans speculation as to like when Morgan's going to be like, what Morgan are we seeing? Are we going to see crazy Morgan when he had his stint where he was kind of lost his way a little bit? Or are we going to see a put together Morgan? Obviously, I would imagine that the two outcomes are either it's going to be Morgan after he parts ways with Rick Grimes in the first episode of Walking Dead, and it's him somewhere in there. Or, and this is kind of a more interesting one, it's going to be Morgan before he even met Rick Grimes. Because technically,
that sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, because I mean, like when we meet Morgan, his wife had already turned into a zombie. Spoiler alert for the first season of Walking Dead. I hope you've seen it. But
I think it's too late for that now.
no, that cat's out of the bag. It's been out of the bag. We're good. But but that being said, his wife had already turned. Like they had already been dealing with the zombie apocalypse while Rick Grimes was in a coma in the hospital. So it might have been before that. So I think that would probably make the most sense. Something to, kind of alleviate people's worries that are Walking Dead fans, though, because I know there's some people that are just like, I don't watch the Fear of the Walking Dead, and I don't want to have to watch it. Or I don't want to lose Morgan. He's my favorite character. The showrunner, Scott M. Gimple, did say that Morgan still has plenty of story left on The Walking Dead. So he's not leaving anytime soon. He's just going to be on both shows. Man's going to be making extra money, making that paper. Gonna be on both
pretty
shows.
Good. Sounds like it's the best scenario for him right now.
Yeah, definitely as an actor. Great. So what else is going on in the news?
Well, we have Margot Robbie, who confirmed that there will be a totally separate Harley Quinn movie.
Oh, yeah.
She just confirmed in the MTV News interview. She said the following: I've been working on it for 2 years now. She went on to say, I mean, it's hard to kind of talk about it because all this stuff is kind of under lock and key. But yeah, no, I've been working on a separate spinoff for Harley thing for a while now. I'm really excited about this because I felt like it didn't go into the character enough in Suicide Squad. I mean, we had a short little like montage of how she became Harley Quinn, but it didn't really show anything.
You know why we got that montage, though, Amanda?
Why?
Because I'm going to get on a pedestal here, so let me just slide that stool right on up to the microphone so I can get nice and high for people.
Yep, all right. Are you up there?
Yeah, I'm getting on that soapbox.
Okay.
It's really high up, and I'm already short, so it's difficult.
Don't
but
fall
I got a
off.
ladder. We're good.
Be careful.
Yeah, I don't want to injure myself.
Okay.
Good for entertainment. Get the ambulance coming. Paramedics would be great.
Yeah.
But Hollywood sometimes can make a blunder or two at the studio level. And I think with the DCEU, there's been a lot of concern with where it might be going, especially around the time the Suicide Squad came out, which is the movie you were referencing.
Yeah.
And Batman v Supes was very well known to be too intense, too dark, too sad, man. I'm depressed after seeing that movie, and for multiple reasons. So when they aired Suicide Squad's trailer, they had this great company. They did the trailer, and it was fun, and they had great music and bright colors, and people were like, oh, yeah, this is a movie I can get behind. Here's the problem, though. That trailer was cut that way because they were concerned that, hey, maybe we need to see if this is the approach we need to take. The movie itself was actually dark toned, very in line with Batman v Superman. So because they freaked out, they actually hired the trailer company that did that trailer to re-edit the entire film. I've never heard of that in my lifetime happening, where a trailer company gets their hands on the entire feature film and gets to recut the film.
Wow.
But if you watch the first 30 minutes of Suicide Squad and you wonder to yourself, man, it seems like these are just a bunch of trailers, there's a reason for that. So, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of stuff got cut. A lot of stuff with Jared Leto's character got cut. I feel like the Joker might have actually been a way more likable character had they left a lot of those scenes in. But there is hope. I know that they're talking about doing a Harley Quinn and Joker movie as well. Wow. And it just seems like this is just going to be a couple years of Harley Quinn stuff right now, which is even better now that she's going to get a solo film.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I had no idea that happened with Suicide Squad. And, when I first saw the trailer for it, I immediately thought, this kind of reminds me of Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're trying to make it more light and fun and, you know, insert the cool music and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that this movie, I mean, hopefully it can kind of shed some light on her character a little bit more. And I know a lot of people, you know, people who follow the comics or they know her character. So hopefully they can stay true to it as much as they can.
All right. Interesting trivia question. You clearly like Harley Quinn. Do you know how she was introduced to the world? Was
no.
it in a comic?
I don't know, actually.
It was not in a comic, actually. It was actually in Batman, the animated series.
Okay.
And it's kind of interesting. It's a weird twist on story in the sense that a character debuted on a television show and was so well liked that now it's had a huge comic book career. She's even got her own comics. So it's kind of interesting that she got her start in an animated television series, which also, by the way, featured Mark Hamill in the tone of Star Wars as the Joker. And he's an amazing Joker. He's also one of the people that's been the Joker the longest. So he's been doing his voice for years.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I have to check that out for sure.
Really great series. Anyways, I think there's something else going on, and I was hesitant to talk about it, but I think it's actually kind of entertaining.
Well, if you're talking about Meghan Markle, then yes. So you may know her as Rachel Zane on Suits, and she is now engaged to Prince Harry.
My God, she's off the market. Really off the market. There's no questioning that. She's not going to be like, you know what, maybe I don't marry a prince.
Exactly. Well, and now Prince Harry's off the market too, unfortunately. Sorry,
people
ladies.
liked him. He was a little rebel.
You know, I thought we were going to happen, but I guess I was wrong.
Me too, man. I was willing. I was thinking about it.
He's a prince. Come on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was more thinking about Meghan Markle, but also, Harry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right.
I mean, either one. I mean, dynamite couple.
Yeah, so Meghan's co-star, Patrick Adams, who plays Mike Ross, which is her boyfriend on the show of Suits, took to Twitter saying she said she was just going out to get some milk, which was pretty funny.
I thought so. I mean, I remember seeing that tweet. I was like, wow, man. Like, it's just not something you expect, but it was kind of funny, I thought.
Definitely. And then he went on to say, playing Meghan's television partner for the better part of a decade uniquely qualifies me to say this. Your Royal Highness, you are a lucky man, and I know your long life together will be joyful, productive, and hilarious. Meghan, so happy for you, friend. Much love. Which I thought was such a sweet way to cherish the couple, I guess. Cherish their engagement announcement, right?
Yeah, I love that because you get like that little bit of sarcasm, you know, that little bit of humor.
Yeah.
And then he hits you with the sweet stuff right after.
Yeah. And then later he tweeted, so no milk, when it was actually confirmed that Meghan will no longer be on Suits after this season's finale.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah. So she's just taking the whole royal family thing full time then.
I think so. I mean, the royal family definitely has a lot of social obligations that they have to do. And I'm sure that she's not going to be, let out of it that easily, right?
Yeah, I guess not. Well, I don't know. I like Patrick J. Adams. I think I like his character a lot in the show.
You know, it's funny that you say that too, because there are rumors that he's leaving the show as well.
Oh, man. I mean, to be fair, I quit watching the show a while ago.
Yeah.
But that does kind of suck. I mean, obviously, him and Harvey are like the main people. So
True.
Obviously you're going to like them. But
yeah.
I always liked Suits. The only problem for me was the main theme of the show, or the main concept of the show, is like, hey, don't tell anyone I didn't go to law school, but I'm going to practice law. Cool, buddy. I'll hire you still because you're such a swell guy. Like, to me, it is such an impossible idea that it really kind of makes it hard for me to like, because I'll watch a show and it's entertaining. I'm not saying the show is bad by any means. It's a great show. It's very entertaining. It's just every once in a while, my mind will be like, by the way, this would never happen. Which, to be fair, there's a lot of shows like that. I watch The Walking Dead religiously. I don't think zombies are going to happen, but at least you know that's not going to happen. Whereas it's just like, oh yeah, that could happen.
You know, I could easily get past that. I thought it was a very kind of dramatic way of, oh my God, he's doing this thing that he's not supposed to be doing. And I didn't even think about it after a while. The only thing I didn't really like about the show is how repetitive it gets. I mean, with each episode, it's kind of structured fairly the same. And like you, I kind of stopped watching it, at a certain point. And I do plan on going back to it.
Something else that happened, and it was kind of in the news if you are a big social media follower, because it did take place on Twitter, kind of keeping in line with that theme. So Seth Rogen defended visual effects industry on Twitter against a movie news and movie review vlogger, John Campea. And I thought that was really interesting. I mean, we're both VFX artists, and so this definitely hits a little bit closer to home. But John Campea wrote on November 14th, "Remember, folks, don't blame a director for bad CGI. That's on the VFX teams. The director doesn't sit there, model, animate, roto, etc. They have VFX companies and teams that do that." I mean, I'm already frustrated with this comment a little bit. I mean, I can kind of maybe see devil's advocate where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's a very kind of just, I don't know, I don't want, ignorant is a good word maybe, or just like he just doesn't understand the industry at all. And Seth Rogen, who's had a lot of experience using visual effects with his show Preacher and now Future Man, had this to say on the 15th. He goes, "Dude, this is total bullshit. It's completely the director's fault often." He followed that up by saying VFX are a tool like anything else, and if a director can't use it properly, it's no different than being able to use a camera properly or direct actors properly. And just real quick before we get into our reactions on that, I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I'm looking here right now, and there's some interesting people that had something to say. We have someone here saying, "As a VFX artist, I appreciate you saying this." And we also have producers and directors think VFX is just a push button to make CGI, forgetting about the artistry that goes into it. Rush VFX, get bad VFX. Thanks for sticking up for us, Seth. What are your thoughts on that, Amanda, as a VFX artist and dealing with clients like that? We've worked on some big films ourselves.
Well, I really do agree that a lot of people think it's as easy as pressing a button. They don't realize how much work and how many people actually work on these movies, right? And the thing is I don't agree that it's always the director's fault if the visual effects go wrong, because oftentimes timelines are pushed by the studios. There's the budget to pay attention to, right? I mean, at the same time, the visual effects studios follow the director's notes. Like Seth said, it's a tool, much like directing the actors.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, obviously we've had a lot of experiences ourselves without going into too many details just for NDA purposes. But, just in a broad sense of terms, we'll be on a shot for, we'll say like 2 or 3 weeks for this example, right? This hypothetical. And I guarantee you that even if that shot is due in like 2 or 3 days, you could have a client say, "Hey, I need this asset thrown in there," that someone is going to have to model texture, they're going to have to light it, they're going to have to animate it, they're going to then have to integrate it into the scene. All of these things have to take place from multiple different departments. We're talking probably 10 to 15 different artists are touching this thing, and they have 3 days to get this done. Now, I will say there are some real magicians out there that are VFX artists, and I think I'm a pretty good artist. I don't think that I'm up there just quite yet. But still, 3 days to do that much work. I mean, you're talking about at least a week or two's worth of work that they're trying to cram into 3 days. And that happens more often than not.
It happens all the time, if you
really
can believe
does.
it or not. Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, without getting too much into another soapbox, I'm running out of these soapboxes, Amanda. I'll tell you what, need to get a stockpile. We need to order some on Amazon so I'm ready for next week's podcast. But, the thing is, it's a very competitive industry, so much so that you get a lot of small studios that'll pop up, and it's great when you see, VFX artists start their own company. Like, look, we're going to be different. The problem is the studio has gotten so used to the way that things are run right now and what they are able to get out of these, vendors, which is effectively the VFX, studios, that a small studio that wants to take a stand or not be like everybody else more often will go under.
Yeah.
And it sucks, when you have the majority bending to the will of the client. And again, I'm not saying all clients are bad. I've worked on a lot of shows where it's been a pleasant experience. Everything is working mutually. Again, these are more, isolated incidents, but they do happen. And unfortunately, it's become a norm to work at these kind of conditions and to try and deliver at these crazy deadlines. And it does make it difficult on the artists, is all I'm saying.
And it's like what happened with Rhythm and Hues, right? When they did Life of Pi, they went bankrupt. They had to go under. They're gone.
Yeah, that was really a tough situation where movies got delayed. And again, we're going into the business side of things here, but hey, you know what? Maybe we'll learn something today. But I actually had an instructor who was on the team for Life of Pi, so I actually have a lot more insight probably than most people as far as to what exactly went down.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of us probably in the industry know someone who's affected by that. But the thing is when movies get delayed, the vendor, the VFX studio, is then put in a situation is, do we keep our employees on staff even though there's not work for them, or do we lay them off? And Rhythm and Hughes had really built a reputation as being artists first. We're going to take care of our artists. And so they had a couple movies get delayed, and they decided to keep their employees staffed. And ultimately, they ended up paying the employees out of their own personal bank accounts to founders. And ultimately, the company went bankrupt. And it was a really horrible situation.
Yeah.
It was really handled poorly also as far as the media and how it was covered, because the thing is, it's the worst case scenario for an artist. I know we're going on a tangent here, but it's a really interesting moment in VFX history in the sense that people got nominated for multiple Oscars, okay? And all this is going on. They're having a great night. They're winning Oscars. They're winning awards on multiple different award shows. They've been winning, but especially on the Oscars, they win. And then they all, coming off of this high, get an email that Sunday night saying not to come into work the following day and that they've been laid off.
Wow. I couldn't imagine that happening to me. I mean, I could imagine it happening, but for it to actually happen it's terrible.
It really, because you just gotta think like in that moment, and like, we all want an award, okay? And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just validating our artistry or something. It's not that we need that, but it's nice to be recognized for the amount of hours that we put in a week. We work 80 plus hours sometimes in a week, and it's just nice to be honored for something like that. So to have such a monumentous moment, such as the Oscars, completely be crushed under the weight of losing your job and in such fashion. Yeah. Honestly, if I don't remember, I'm pretty sure we can leave it in the link up if we can find it. It's a sad moment, but I remember them playing the Jaws theme music, I think, when they closed them out.
They were cutting them off.
On the Oscars.
They were cutting them off at the Oscars.
Yeah, they cut... man, really sad moment in VFX history.
It was, yes.
Well, let's bring it back up with the trailer drops that have happened over the last couple of weeks.
Something a little more positive than a company going bankrupt.
With these VFX-heavy movies that we're going to be talking about. So sad. Let me get some whiskey real quick, and we'll continue. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
All right. So the Marvel's Avengers Infinity War trailer has dropped, and it's amazing, in my opinion.
Dude, it's hard not to fanboy or fangirl about that.
It is. Well, to be honest, I am not the biggest Marvel fan in the world, and I'm not even close to it. But this trailer, I think this trailer is going to change some things for me, definitely. It was viewed more than 200 million times in 24 hours.
Jesus.
Setting a new record for the most trailer views in a single day.
Wow. That is nuts. What was their end of the day totals?
The 230 million end of day. Yeah.
So not only did they do more than 200, they freaking went 30 million over 224 hours.
Absolutely amazing. I think the previous record holder was 2017's It at 197 million views.
Wow, man. 2017's a good year, man. Earlier this year.
It's a big leap, too.
Man. That's insane. It was one of those... That was an oddball one. I remember that just like lit a fire under people. People were like, man, I remember Tim Curry as It. And now they're like, man, but this new It though, man, he creepy. He real creepy. Like, I think that he would kill Tim Curry's It, no problem.
I think so.
Oh, no. I'm curious. Amanda. Did you ever see the original It?
I saw both, yes.
Okay.
But a long time ago.
When did you see the original It?
Oh, my God. I don't even know how long ago.
See, this is what I'm touching on here.
I think I was a child when I saw it.
Exactly, right? We were all Georgie. Yeah. We were all Georgie. This is why people hate clowns, okay? Because I saw it on television, so it was a little bit censored. Although I don't think censorship was probably as much as it probably is today as far as that. But I did see it, and I remember it freaking me out. And I think the new It I did see it. Obviously, it's been out. I'm hoping that most of the audience has seen this movie. It is a great movie. I don't know. It was hard for me because I think when I saw that trailer, at least, right, just touching on the trailer, a lot of people were like, man, that it is freaky. We had all these freaky clown sightings, which is great publicity for it, by the way. But they had all these freaky clown sightings, and then you have this version of it, and the dude just looks like a serial killer right out the gate. Like, there is no comedic charm about this It. This It is scary as shit, okay? And Tim Curry's It was almost like one of those, like, as long as he ain't smiling with them creepy sharp teeth and he's about to eat your arm off, he kind of had an endearing quality. Like, he's a clown, so he's inherently freaky. Sorry if you're a clown out there, but I don't know. Something about a permanent emotion on someone's face is a little unnerving. But, you know, there's like this scene in the original It where he's playing with the little girl and she's hanging outside with all this laundry that's hanging on dryer pins, you know, like hanging laundry.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, they're playing like a game of peekaboo almost. And it's like cute, you know, it's kind of cutesy. I don't imagine the new It would have ever been able to achieve something like that because he's just too freaky out the gate. That little girl been like, yo, sorry, I gotta go because you freaky as hell. Like, I'm not dealing with that. I don't know. I feel like it kind of loses its, I think maybe that's why It terrifies me so much because, like, obviously this new It, the effects were amazing in that, and obviously he's very scary, but I feel like there's something more scary about someone looking so innocent in a way.
Yeah.
For a clown, I know that doesn't, clowns aren't innocent,
Well,
okay? They're all scary, but.
I'm not afraid of clowns, personally.
Really?
They do not scare me, and I think the reason is because growing up, other than this movie, I had really good experiences with clowns. Birthday parties and fun events and stuff like that. So I don't know, it never really terrified me as much. Yeah, but the idea of, you know, this fun clown, you know, turning on you, biting your arm off is pretty terrifying. Like, it doesn't change how scary that actually is.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and real quick, just a random funny little mention here. I don't know if it was ever uncovered that this was a publicity stunt or not. But when it was, I don't know if it was in theaters yet, but it was during that time period when the new It, the one that came out this year, was announced. There was a small town in the northeast, the northeastern U.S., that they had an incident with a lot of red balloons being tied to sewer gates, like the grates in the ground. And it got to the point where the local police department had to go on Twitter and make a formal announcement saying, hey, we get it, really funny, but you're freaking people out. We're all a little bit nervous about the balloons. Can you please stop hanging these balloons?
Wow, I had no idea. That's hilarious. I mean, okay, it's hilarious, but it's not hilarious.
I mean, if I was a kid, I'd be like, all right, time to move, Mom. There's red balloons everywhere. I don't want to float like George, okay? I don't want to float around here, all right? I'm good. I'm a smart kid. I'm not an idiot who's going to just, you know, walk up and talk to some creepy clown in the sewer. I never understood that, man. I don't feel like I was that naive as a child.
I don't think I was either.
Just be like, some guy's like, oh, hi, Georgie. I'm going to be like, yo, you sound freaky. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah.
I don't need that boat. I can make another boat. Why is that boat so special? It's a piece of paper.
Exactly.
Is it worth losing your arm is the question.
Well, but I mean, you know, it's a clown in a storm drain. You know, he could just hand it to you.
There's a certain charm there, maybe.
It's fine.
Maybe like a hobo clown charm. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, there was another trailer that got leaked. Well, not leaked, but launched, which is Batman Ninja. I mean, I saw a poster for this, and I'm like, well, that's got to be fake. Or that's got to be like a comic or something. No, people. It is a full-fledged anime movie that basically turns a Dark Knight into a badass samurai. I'm for real right now. This is the thing. This is happening.
It's a pretty cool twist on Batman, I must say.
I think so. You know, and the thing is, it's not like something that was like lackadaisical. Like, they weren't just like, what if Batman and the Joker were in an anime? No, they like went all out. You have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure producer, Junpei Mizusaki. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And you also have the Afro Samurai creator, Takashi Okazaki, involved in the project. I mean, I never saw JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I did see a lot of Afro Samurai, and that was a really cool twist because you had American actors involved in these. You had Samuel Jackson, you had Ron Perlman, And it was just really weird but cool, man. You had like this fusion of like hip hop music with anime style, and you got all these awesome fighting scenes. And it's really interesting just seeing like both these creators. Really, you can see their unique twist in the film. Like, you can see their vision. You can see that look in the actual film. It takes place in medieval Japan. So we're not talking modern day Japan. This is medieval. The Joker looks far crazier than I have ever seen him on screen. Like, this guy looks like he skins people and uses them for furniture.
It does. Yeah, he looks really creepy.
I mean, he's literally got like this crazy samurai gear. Like, his necklace is like a row of teeth, and then he's got like a belt that's a row of teeth. So he's like this big mouth. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Batman also, by the way, looks genuinely epic as a samurai, man. Like, I could buy it. I want an action figure. They need to make these. They make figures all the time. I want me a Batman samurai for my desk as well to go next to my porg, and not a creepy porg that's like a, taxidermy porg like Amanda wants. Just a nice plush porg, normal.
I want a live porg, a live one.
Oh, okay, live. Well,
Not
now that sounds
taxidermy.
worse. Do you have him in a cage or something? Is it just like malnourished porg? You know what? I don't want to get into your weird stuff, Amanda.
Right.
I want to go down that dark path. I'm just kidding. I'm sure you just meant like a cute little one you're going to snuggle in your purse like a little hedgehog or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, that's the thing. I'm not going to... People have hedgehogs, okay? That's a thing. Look this
They're
up.
so cute. Oh, I know. I have friends who have hedgehogs.
I never knew about this till I moved to Vancouver. And one of my friends has a hedgehog. And she's like so calm about it. She's like, oh, yeah, I have a hedgehog. He's totally chill. I'm like, what? And yeah, I guess it's a pet. I guess it's a thing.
It is. It is a pet, definitely.
Back to this though, like in the trailer, which we will leave a link. We'll leave a link to all this stuff, by the way, just while we're on the topic, for all the stuff that we're talking about. If there's relevant links or articles, or even if it's like a trailer, especially during trailer drops, we will leave a link in the link dump for the podcast. So check the description for the trailer link. But in this trailer, you do see the Joker, obviously. You see Batman, of course, but you also see Harley Quinn. You see Catwoman, you see Poison Ivy, you see Robin, and you even see Gorilla Grodd looking super badass. So I am really excited. There was a lot of other characters that were in there that I'm not mentioning right now, but I'm just going to make you watch the trailer so you can see who I'm talking about, who I'm not mentioning. But it looks awesome.
Well, honestly, my style of animation is more like Pixar. I love Pixar. And I just wanted to say, speaking of Pixar, The Incredibles 2 teaser trailer just dropped.
You're going to talk about this.
Oh, yeah. I have to talk about this. Now, actually, in July of 2017, there was an original teaser trailer for Incredibles 2. I think a lot of people missed it. And then, of course, more recently, there's a second teaser trailer that is basically giving us a preview of baby Jack's superpowers.
Which is what, everything?
Apparently, I mean, in the original movie, we know he caught on fire. He could turn into this weird, like, muscular demon baby, right?
Are you sure that's not a normal thing with babies? I know a couple babies that can do that.
I don't have a baby myself, so I don't know, and I'm scared though, if that is the truth.
No, it's not. Lily, I'm not talking about you. Your uncle is not talking about you.
Oh.
I am talking about her when she was little, but she didn't know that. She didn't remember that time.
She's good now though, right?
She has her moments. She did throw car keys at someone's face the other day, but it's cool.
Wow. I hope she listens to this.
She won't. She's too young. She's too young. Thank God. Anyways.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited for Incredibles 2. I've been waiting a very long time for it. So,
yeah, it has been a while. And as from what I can tell, the entire cast will be reprising their roles that were previously casted in the original. Speaking on those powers, I did try to kind of write down, I went through that trailer, man. I super sleuthed this to see exactly what we saw. We saw Baby Jack has the fire ability, like you mentioned.
Yep.
He's got electricity.
Yeah.
He's got laser eyes. And also, in the beginning, some ability to be able to phase through walls or objects.
It's like a portal ability is how I saw it. I don't know.
So, man, that is, you think terrible tooths are bad when you have a normal child. I can only imagine someone with that many superpowers, even if you're super parents.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Another show that I guess will kind of round this trailer drops out is Black Mirror. It's a very interesting show.
Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's coming out with season 4, and it's one of those shows where I feel like most of the people that I know have seen the show, but it's also one of those things where if I meet a stranger on the street or having a random conversation with a friend of a friend, they, for whatever reason, probably have heard of it, or they haven't heard of it, or they've just never seen it. It's weird. It's like, it's really popular to like a group, I guess cult. It's a cult classic.
You know, most
even though
people,
it's still relatively new.
Most people I've talked to haven't seen it, actually. It's
Really?
Most people I talk to have heard of it, and maybe they've seen 1 or 2 episodes, but they haven't really gone through the whole thing, which I think isn't fair, because if you don't know Black Mirror, it's every single episode is a completely different story.
Yeah.
And it's not really fair to go, oh, I didn't like the first and second episode, I'm not going to keep watching it.
Look,
you know.
I'm gonna put a disclaimer out here real quick, okay? Because I really do love Black Mirror. I think it's a really awesome show. Usually, it is a tale about how technology, though it is great, has its dark sides. Okay,
It's
that's
incredibly
usually
dark.
the twist. Yeah, right. But I gotta say, like, I feel like for an older audience, maybe even a younger audience in their teens or early 20s, that first episode's a hard one to take. I feel like there's so many people that go into this, they get ready for their Netflix binge, it is on Netflix, and they're super excited to watch Black Mirror. They hear all these good things about it. They watch that first episode, and then they're like, whoa, I was not prepared for that.
It's
or
pretty
visually
gross.
prepared for that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just tell you right now, without getting too detailed, just the reason why you probably should skip that, and it's because you have a politician being blackmailed into bestiality with a pig. Okay?
It's definitely not the best way to introduce this TV series.
I mean, it's a great. The thing is, it's a good episode. Like, it has its reasons for it.
Yes.
But at the same time, I feel like it can be very off-putting to a very large audience, and maybe that's why the people who are willing to go past that are such fans of the show, because it's like, look, man, it's almost like a litmus test there to see, like, hey, are you gonna be able to make it through this? All right, cool. If you can make it through that, then you can make it through anything. So let's throw some weird stuff at you, because not all of them are that bad. Speaking of which, we're going on to season 4 here. There were a lot of trailers dropped. The main one was a single episode trailer for Archangel. And the reason why I say it's subtle is this one's really subtle. It's not like crazy in your face. It's well, there's a couple weird things. Okay, first off, it starts with this woman and her daughter on a swing set, and you have an elderly man in the video. Okay, and he states, I'm 2,000 years old, and there used to be a time where we would let our children go out and play, basically, right? Like, it was a safer time.
It's something
And then
that you kind of have to go back and listen to again, because you're like, wait, did he just say that? What did he say?
Yeah, because I think, and again, like, obviously watch the trailer. We're going to spoil the trailer here to talk about it, but it's worth it because it's one episode. And again, it's just a trailer. It's not spoiling the entire episode. But the thing is, the whole setting is a very normal, typical Midwest backyard. Like, nothing about this screams future. But then you hear this man say, I'm 2,000 years old. And you're like, there's no sarcasm in his voice. He's deadpan serious. Like, he's like, I'm 2,000 years old, woman. Mm-hmm. I've seen some stuff. And the way things are now are not good. Okay? Basically, is the tone. It then cuts to a scene where basically this mother thinks that she loses her daughter. Has a totally normal reaction. She starts freaking out like, oh my God, where's my daughter? Some guy finds her. She's good. Golden, right? And you're like, whew, man, that was intense, man. I could feel how, as a parent, you'd be concerned, right? Totally normal. Then things get weird, because then she goes to some futuristic clinic and they inject her daughter's head with something. I don't like needles, okay? I don't like them. All right. And I don't think most kids like needles. OK, I think that's something that happens right out the bat. You see a big needle, you're like, not today. No, thank you. This little girl let them put that needle right into her temple and inject something we don't know. But the thing is, the theme of the trailer is control. So basically, mom loses track of her daughter. She's like, never again will I lose you. I'm going to inject something that basically gives me control of you. And then after that happens, her daughter gets some weird Damien issues where she looks like she's going to kill mama. I don't know. Looks a little weird. Like, I don't know. It's creepy. It's definitely strange. But in any case, I think it's time for us to take a little break. And when we come back, we will be with Elizabeth Harding, our guest for today's episode. Harding is a talented director, cinematographer, and producer. She's been involved in 14 short films. Harding's currently in production on her new talk show, The Martini Shot Show. The show will shine a spotlight on indie film while also having surprise guests. Lastly, Harding has a blog in which she helps teach industry newcomers valuable production techniques. Anyways, we will be back. Quick 10-20 second music break, and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Something bad will happen. And then my apartment, I'm like I'm like moving back to the States. And now they're trying to view my apartment so they can rent it, which makes sense. And I told them not Saturday because I have interviews scheduled. And they're like, all right, we'll be there Saturday. So I had to like run down there real quick and be like, please don't knock on my door.
That's awesome.
Anyways, well, welcome to the show. I'm super happy to have you here.
Well, thanks, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah. So I guess my first question for you would be, like what made you decide to become a filmmaker?
Well, I think I kind of just fell into it. As you know, I went to school for visual effects, and I was really into that. And as I went through the school, I realized I don't really want to be a VFX artist. I guess I'm more interested in the idea of how it's done. And so after that, I started thinking, okay, well, I got to figure something out now. And so when I graduated, a couple of friends and I started our company called BAM Productions, which was like Bray, Harding, and McCullum. We sounded like a law firm. And as we went through it, my buddy Daniel started teaching me more and more about cameras. And I was like, this is what I like. Like I'm spending hours every night reading up on cameras and watching all these tutorials on filmmaking. And then I just took off from there.
Really? So when would you say that you got your first start, or how did you get your first start in the industry?
My very first start, we got paid to do some product photography for Saham for his company Deviant Chimp, actually. And I think that was the first paid gig.
All right. Yeah, and for those listeners that don't know who Saham is, he was I believe he was the IT lead at our school, Dave's school, which is the school that you went to. Am I wrong in saying that, or?
I believe that's the most accurate title. I don't think he's there now anymore.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Yeah.
He's still around, though. Like, he keeps popping up in pictures. I mean, we have a lot of, shared connections, Elizabeth and I, with our being at the same school, and he always pops up in pictures, so he's definitely still around.
It's awesome.
So let's see. You've been involved in quite a few projects. What would you say would be your favorite?
Probably the one I'm involved right now because, well, it's like a passion project. I can't really pay any of my crew right now, but they're super involved, and I'm going to do a shameless plug. It's the Martini Shot, which is starting in January to air. And I've always wanted to do an interview series focused on the indie film here in LA. I think there's a huge market for it. And a lot of the indie filmmakers, I feel like they just don't get the light shed on them because, everybody wants to talk about the big budget films. But the tiny films are the ones that really have the heart and soul because you're scraping everything you have together to make them.
Exactly.
So I'm like super stoked to talk to these people.
Yeah, and actually, no shameless plug at all. I actually really wanted to kind of help promote that and also talk about it because it definitely sounded interesting when you had mentioned it to me earlier. So, I mean, what would give us like a look at like what a typical episode would be? Like, if you can. I mean, I don't know how much you want to share too much details, but, like what kind of content's on the show? Are you going to have guests on the show often, or?
Yeah, so we're hoping to do 24 episodes. Probably 20 of them will be the typical indie guests and hopefully 4 special guests based on the connections myself and my teammates have. And a typical episode, we're still working that dynamic out. Right now, it's just going to be like a very fun standard interview for the first one. But we have a couple of segments we're developing right now that we're hoping to start adding to in maybe the February, March episodes, which are going to be kind of goofy, poking fun at other television shows. And yeah, I'm just keeping like a little campy humor.
Yeah, I love it. Casual, but still informative.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And so you said in January. So is there like a specific date that you have in mind, or is people just need to stay tuned for January?
Yeah, we are thinking January 5th. We're hoping to release every other Friday.
Every other Friday. Okay, cool. Very awesome. And you said that you're going to be doing 24 episodes. Now, are you doing seasons or?
Yeah, we're hoping to do 24 episodes a season.
Okay. Very cool. Now, we can leave this in or not, but I have been kind of peeking your Instagram, and I noticed that you had someone from A Ghost and a Boy with a Box on his head on your show, and there was a little set photo there. Do you want to kind of, again, I know you don't want to like spoil too much, but I mean, is that one of the guests or?
Yeah, that's Philip Blue. He is going to be actually the first episode we air. He came in. He was super nice. I took that photo from his Instagram, and I totally recommend following his page. Yeah, I'm a thief, but I put his little tag at the bottom.
Hey, well, we saw that.
yeah, I give credit. I'm a nice thief. And yeah, he's super nice. I'm actually going to see him on Sunday at this Filmmaker showcase I'm going to. And the movie's very unique. It deals with like mental illness, which I think is first of all, it's a very difficult topic to tackle. And then as an indie filmmaker with small budget, he pulled off so much. I definitely think people need to go see that film.
Definitely, yeah. And visually, it's very professional looking. It doesn't seem like something that would be done on a lower budget.
Yeah, it's really unique. He's got a lot of interesting graphics going on there.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I saw the trailer myself, and it's actually interesting. We had talked about this beforehand, and the fact that, we thought that we might know the same person. And I honestly had just seen the trailer, and I had it in my queue, and it's just so, I guess, ironic that you would have him as your first guest, and here's this, indie film that I'm like, wow, this film looks amazing. This looks really cool, and then now he's your first guest. It's really, honestly, the trailer alone, I feel like, is going to get people to see it. So we can link that in the link dump for the podcast so people can see the trailer and, maybe go see the movie. But it is a really interesting movie. And like you said, it does touch on a lot of, really important topics. But it's very stylish. I like it. I don't know. I like style in films. It's kind of nice when a, filmmaker can put their own twist or have a, certain look that's with their films.
Yeah, well, you should. I mean, I feel like so many movies look the same nowadays, and it's like, no, it's art, man. Express yourself.
Exactly. You should be able to look at a single frame and be like, I know who did this, or like a couple seconds and kind of get an idea of who filmed it.
Yeah, it's like Tarantino. You know a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, you do. So speaking of Instagram and following them, where can people follow you so that they can potentially see set photos like this?
You can follow me personally at Liz Harding. It's a douchey name, but I think it's hilarious.
I like it.
And thanks, bro. And we also have the Martini Shot Show's Instagram page, which I believe should just be at the Martini Shot Show.
Awesome.
We'll try to make it very simple.
Yeah, definitely. Easy for people to catch on to. And obviously we'll leave those in the link dump as well for listeners so that they can check that out and see all these awesome set photos. So getting back to, I guess, your personal career, let's see. I mean, do you have any interesting, set stories of one of the films that you've been on that you'd like to share? Something weird or funny that may have happened on set?
There was this first really short film that I made with Daniel and Derek, and they'll probably say it was hell making it too. Oh, I hope I can curse. I'm sorry.
You're fine. It's
okay. Cool. Yeah, it was a fun film. We called it The Retrieval, and we wrote out this entire story with this whole plot. And it's not that at all. It's just gone. It turned into a silent film. And we filmed it in Dave's school. They let us use, thank God they let us use their little green screen backstage area.
Yeah.
And it took us a month to film it because we were filming as soon as the school closed at, I think it was midnight, until 6 a.m. every night. Just trying to get these shots right. Yeah, because we were like, we don't know what we're doing, so we'll just spend 30 days on it. Whatever.
Yeah, record enough, you'll get something.
Yeah, we definitely got something, that's for sure. But it turned out really fun at the end. But just that whole process was ridiculous.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, also that featured Trevor, your husband, in that, didn't it?
Yeah. Oh, poor Trevor. He has put up with so much stuff from me. Just me begging him to please be in this. I really need you.
He's got a good face for being on camera. I think. I think he pulls it off.
Yeah, I think he's got a good face, too. I like it. I put a ring on it. I liked it so much.
There you go. So, I guess, what advice would you give to an aspiring filmmaker, given your career?
Well, I definitely think moving out to LA was a really good choice. I know a lot of people are questioning and they're like, oh, just make something where you are. You can. But I found that I started working immediately, even though I was very inexperienced as soon as I got out here. So maybe try to find a bigger city if you can. And just stay true to yourselves. I see a lot of people trying to copy what the mold is right now, or trying to please other people. And when you do that, most people don't care about you because it's just boring. If you start putting your stamp on stuff, people are going to pay attention.
Definitely. What would you say would be some roadblocks? I mean, as obviously location is definitely one of them, given that the industry is very localized to certain areas, giving, New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and even Vancouver in Canada and Montreal are kind of coming up as well. Aside from location, what do you think are some roadblocks that you've come across that you might be able to help people avoid?
I've found that I buy all my own gear because first off, it's really hard. First off, it's hard for me to ask people to work for free. Like, my people that are working for free right now are really good friends of mine. And we have a plan to hopefully be able to pay them by the next season. So be prepared that some people aren't going to want to work for free or continuously work for free, and make it worth their while. It's a trade-off. You get their skill set. What's your payment in return? Mm-hmm. And, not just like being in LA as a location, but locations in general for filming. A lot of people aren't comfortable with filming happening. So don't write your stories based on other locations. Based on what you have now is the best way to go about it. Because you don't have to. I watched an entire series, and one of the episodes is online. I think the series is called Spades. And this guy, the entire episode takes place in an elevator, and it's super good. And he only had the elevator, and it's perfect.
Wow. So sometimes limitations can actually lend to an even better story just because it's like, all right, look, this is all we have. Let's get as much out of this as we can. And then it ends up being a great episode, like you said.
Yeah, as long as you have a good story, you're fine. I think a lot of people just don't have good stories anymore.
Wow. Yeah, that's an interesting point to make. So, and you mentioned BAM Productions earlier. We kind of covered that a little bit. But, I mean, do you want to go into more detail? I know that you guys have kind of disbanded since the initial start.
Yeah, we disbanded, but naturally we are still on really good terms. We talk a lot. The only reason Daniel, who's a 3D artist in Orlando still, I think that was more his interest. Derek and I had different interests in the long run, but it was a really nice learning experience. Mm-hmm. We did a lot of photography. We did a lot of short films on our own. And we also did a lot of volunteer, because we were just trying to get some practice in volunteer, live events.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, it sucks when you're working with friends, and, it's great that in the sense that you guys are still on good terms, because usually when you go into business, or if there is, differing views, that if you do part ways, it can sometimes be a little bit less amicable. So it's great that you guys are still, on good terms.
Yeah. That's something I think everybody needs to look out for, because a lot of people, like my teammates during at that time, Daniel and Derek were great at it. But a lot of people seem to not be able to separate friendships and business. Mm. And you have to, if you're going to work with friends, you have to go in with that mindset. You can't think, oh, they'll never do this. They won't hate me after this happens. But it's business. If you're doing something that's not good for the business, don't think they're going to still be friends afterwards.
Exactly.
Unless they can actually separate it.
Exactly. And, and the thing that people often forget, they think, big movies and big screen, or even television, they think all this big stuff. And it's very easy to assume that the industry is very huge in the sense of what it is, but it's actually a very small industry as far as crew and even, actors and everything like that. You're going to run into people more often than not, even if it may be 10 years down the road, but you do want to try and keep that in mind when you're working with people, friends or not. And then this kind of goes towards advice, I guess, towards someone who's trying to get into the industry in general, not even just as a filmmaker, is, always keep in mind that whoever you work with one day may be your boss the next day, or not even that, they may help you get a job down the road. I mean, I've had a lot of help from friends myself in my own personal career, with people that I've networked or worked with. So it's definitely helpful.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure, as you were saying, our entire industry is based on your reputation and your connections.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to be a jerk to anyone anyway. So just don't be an asshole. It's just a good rule.
Yeah, don't be the one asshole. There's a great teacher of ours, Roger, Borelli, and he always said that there's always one asshole, and don't be that person.
Yeah,
So,
wise words from Roger.
very, very good words to keep in mind when going into the industry. And so you're in LA. I mean, what do you do for fun? When you have some free time, I know you like to keep yourself very busy, but with little time that you have, what do you guys like to do for fun?
Trevor and I are huge on exploring. We like to go on hikes, and sometimes we like to just kind of get in the car and go. We're very adventurous, which is why, I mean, when we moved out to LA, we just kind of did it on a whim. If we're just hanging out at home, I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I like to, mush my brain up with some video games.
There you go. Nice. And have you been, I noticed that, and this can kind of carry on with that, but I noticed that you've been promoting Perry's Place, and in actuality, the photo that we have on the website for you is from one of the events. So do you go to a lot of industry events since you're in LA?
Well, industry events, yeah. Perry's Place is actually a cat sanctuary that I'm a huge fan of. Seth MacFarlane. Who anybody who knows me knows that's maybe even an understatement. I just love his work. And he and his sister do a lot of charity work with this company, Heaven on Earth, and I think it was renamed Perry's Place because that was his mother's name.
Okay.
So because I like his work so much, I was like, hey, I have services that I can give you. So I do a lot of photography and videography for them.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I like animals, so
yeah,
it worked out.
And a plus that Seth MacFarlane's heavily involved, being someone that you look up to, so that's even better.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice bonus.
Yeah, winning.
Very cool. So we'll kind of ask, I guess, some little bit more rapid fire questions, and we'll see if maybe you can answer them here.
Okay.
What would be your top 3 favorite films of all time? I know it's hard to pick one, so I figure top 3 might be doable.
Top 3? Okay. I really like Robin Hood, Men in Tights. I'm a big Mel Brooks fan.
Oh, Mel Brooks.
Right? I saw him live and it was awesome. And I really like The Fifth Element. It's kind of cheesy, but I love Bruce Willis in it, and it's just ridiculous.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, Chris Rock alone, or no, not Chris Rock, Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker. I mean, he's always got a loud personality. I remember the first movie I saw him in was Rush Hour, but man, when you see him in Fifth Element,
it's just ridiculous.
Way over the top, and it takes you back so much at first, and you're just like, I cannot stand this guy. And by the end of it, he's very enjoyable. He really grows on you.
Yeah, he's super green.
So what would be your third film?
I really like Love Actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Big ensemble cast, definitely more of a cheesier Christmas movie, I guess.
Yeah, I like cheesy shit, man. White people love cheese.
If you haven't seen Boondocks, they do a great
good you got the reference
on white people and their cheese. But yeah, no, that is another great one. It's funny, I actually only recently saw that about maybe 2 months ago, and I saw it on my own, which I kind of was like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, I should probably watch this with a girl. This is kind of sad. I'm watching it by myself
because
it's definitely more of a romantic. Well, dog, yeah. Unfortunately, I move around a lot, so I can't have animals.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So, and then, you mentioned that Seth MacFarlane is someone that you kind of look up to. What would be any other filmmakers that are kind of favorites of yours?
I really like, obviously, like I said, Mel Brooks. I'm a big Charlie Chaplin fan.
Wow.
I like Buster Keaton. I don't know the names of a lot of his titles because I just kind of find them sparingly on the internet. But I really like him. He's super, he's like the king of slapstick and silent films. I really like him, too.
It's a really good variety of people to kind of inspire you.
Yeah. I like older humor. I feel like we've gotten away from it, so.
Definitely. Need to bring it back.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll be the one to help bring it back. There you go, right? Something to shoot for. Let's see. And then, this is kind of a little bit of a harder question, but if you think back to your childhood, I know it's harder as we get older to remember these things, but...
Hey, man, I'm only 26. I'm not that old.
Valid. Me too. So I guess I don't know. In my mind, I feel like when I go to bed at 9 o'clock, I feel like I'm an old person, So. But what would be the first film that you can remember having an effect on you, or maybe even the first film you remember seeing?
I was I was wondering if you were going to ask that, because that's the kind of questions we like to ask.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I mean,
Great
because that's
minds think
like it's
alike.
like a staple of filmmaking. It's like, what was that movie? I remember watching. I'm surprised the DVD didn't break. Of the first Pirates of the Caribbean behind the scenes. I was like
Wow.
obsessed with it.
That is a terrific film, and also I don't know if they had been doing that very often, but I mean, and
Mm-mm.
I think even today, not a lot of people realize that that's based off of a theme park ride at Disney. I mean,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it's based off. Isn't it based off of Treasure Island
you know, I,
initially? Or
I, if you say yes, I will definitely believe you.
oh man, we're gonna have to research this and see it. Maybe I'll come in after the interview and see if I was wrong or not. But I do actually think it was based off of theme park ride, which is obviously boomed. And I mean, and they did do that with oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank here. With Tomorrow World or something?
Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland, yeah, they did a
Okay.
movie based off of that. So it's not, I guess, the first time that they did that. But
Nice.
so, what about the behind the scenes just like really resonated with you that you were about to break a DVD because you watched it so many times?
I mean, sounds like I just wanted to snap it in half.
It angered me.
I was like, oh, I want to be there. Snap. Nobody can have it. Neither can I. I really like, if I remember it correctly, there's just a lot of the scenes where they're swinging across the boats during like fight scenes.
Oh yeah.
And the action of it, because I didn't understand stunt people or anything when I was watching it. It wasn't something I was thinking about. I was like, that looks cool. And that was about the extent of my childhood brain. And I don't know, just fascinating. And the cameras, I've always really liked seeing the big cameras.
Yeah. That's when you know you've made it. You got the big cameras. But I mean, again, we've talked about this. You don't need the big cameras, but it's definitely kind of a different sense or like a feeling when you're on set with big cameras like that. I can imagine.
Well, I'm not going to lie. People take you very seriously when you have the bigger camera. For some reason, the general public thinks that if the camera's bigger, it means you're legit.
Right. I guess
Yeah.
if you're a smaller or you're more independent filmmaker, just get a bunch of accessories to make the camera look bigger. You know,
Yeah.
if you can't.
Do a little DIY, make your own red box and tell people it's a red and stick your DSLR in it. Be like, you just don't understand cameras.
Exactly, right? Like, this was far cheaper, trust me. But
Yeah.
they don't need to know that.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess touching back on Pirates of the Caribbean, I actually did a little research here while we were talking about the behind the scenes, and I was close. So it actually originated from the Pirates of the Caribbean theme ride attraction, which was opened in 1967 at Disneyland.
Oh, I didn't know it was already there.
Yeah, so same name. Obviously, they took their time, wanted to make sure they could get it right with the
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, so again, it's just not something that people think about with that movie.
Yeah, I
So,
would never have even known that.
But yeah, you learn stuff at Film Revered, right? Little
That's
bit of
what we
knowledge
do.
in there.
Where's our internet Emmy? We learn
There-
things here.
There needs to be one. I think there's the streamies, but that's
That
that's
sounds like you're like whizzing on someone.
it sounds bad, and honestly, I feel like it's more of a popularity contest. I think there's two. I think there's the streamies and maybe the webbies. They like the ease, but you have
Yeah.
to like ask people to vote for you. Like it's a people's choice kind of
Oh,
thing.
it's like high school all over again.
It's awkward though because like what if you don't win? It's like you've asked all these people to help you out,
Yeah.
and then you don't win. It's like oh, awkward, very awkward.
Yeah. No thanks.
Plus, it's kind of a little sad when you have to ask people to hey vote for me. That's never fun. So.
No, I don't like that.
So I am looking to wrap every interview with this question. We'll start with your interview being as you're the premier episode guest.
Ta-da!
And maybe you have an answer for me, maybe you don't. But I'm very skeptical on this type of topic here, which would be the supernatural. And I know that has nothing to do with film, but I think it'd be kind of interesting just to get people's opinions on this. Do you have an interesting ghost story?
An interesting ghost story. I don't think I have any ghost stories, but I used to have a lot of night terrors. Actually, Trevor, you can ask him when you come back here. I've punched him on accident so many times because I would like wake up and I'd still be in like sleep mode, I guess, and it wouldn't be him next to me in bed.
Wow.
And I would hit him, and he'd be like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Trevor."
Oh man, yeah, that's a crazy. What you're touching on there is definitely something that affects a lot of people. Another thing, kind of going more deeply into that, I guess, would be sleep paralysis, which I only heard about recently, which can be like a heightened version of night terrors in the sense that you are conscious, but your body hasn't actually physically woken up yet.
Yeah, it's
And
terrifying.
yeah, for those of you, yeah, exactly. For those of you who don't know what sleep paralysis is, it actually affects millions of people in America every year, which is crazy because, again, I never heard about it. And but yeah, it's effectively you're awake, but you can't do anything. So your mind very quickly goes downhill, and it starts to think that there's all these things potentially going on because you can't react. Like you can't even. It feels like you can't breathe, even though you can, which it's kind of interesting. That's why I'm skeptical on these things. Is I read about this stuff and like they linked that with alien abductions or seeing ghosts. Is it's like your mind playing tricks on you because you may be affected by sleep paralysis. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean it's interesting that you had night terrors. Hopefully those have calmed down and Trevor's not getting punched in the face. I mean, it's hard to explain the black eyes. I'm sure if you gave him
He
one or
fell.
not, so. He fell downstairs that he deserved to fall down. No, I'm kidding. He's a great guy.
Now you're hitting my level of humor.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a super awesome pleasure having you on the show, and thanks for being the first guest. It's always hard to track someone down, and it's great to get someone with your experience to be the first guest, and hopefully people learn something.
Yeah, I think we all learned something today.
All right, we are back. Now, I think a perfect way to end this episode, or any episode really, is to give the audience an idea of what to watch throughout the week while they wait for the next podcast. Something I think you guys should check out, and it is out currently on Netflix, is Shot in the Dark. If you are a big fan of Nightcrawler, this is a show for you. Basically, it is about 3 rival freelance stringer companies that scour the streets of Los Angeles at night to film crime scenes, fires, accidents, and honestly, anything else they can sell to news outlets. The 3 companies are On Scene TV, which is the biggest stringer company of the 3, which employs over 25 videographers. You have Loud Labs, which is more of a medium-sized outfit, which employs 5 or more videographers. And then you have RMG News, which is a family-owned company that only has 3 brothers. There is some drama, but it is more in line with a docu-series than anything else. It doesn't seem like a reality series. Like, it's not campy or anything. You're not going to be like, okay, well, they're just doing this. Like, it is a legit docu-series. You can look up these events that actually happen. They are real. And I'm just going to kind of describe to you one scene. Yes, it is going to be a bit of a spoiler. So if you don't want anything spoiled, if you just want to take my word for it, go see it, then just kind of maybe tune out for maybe the next 30 seconds to a minute while I describe the scene. But it is definitely something that will convince people that might be on the fence about the show. It might be the push that they need. Basically, you have RMG News' Austin Racebrook sitting on the freeway, the 110 freeway in Los Angeles, okay? He spotted a stalled car, okay? Now, at this point, the lights are on, but he's still stalled on the freeway. And on this freeway, there's not a median between the wall and the fast lane, okay? So he is literally in the fast lane, and he is stalled. And so you have Austin sitting in the car with the Netflix crew, and he's like, look, I'm going to film this car because I feel like he's in a really bad spot. I'm going to put my hazards on so maybe people, will see, which honestly, in my mind, I feel like that kind of maybe distracted people from the car in the left-hand lane. But regardless, he's filming because he knows that probably something's going to happen, right? Instincts. That might be questionable to some people. They might be like, man, why don't you just go see if that person's okay? But the whole thing with stringers, which are these people that, go out and hunt for these things, is not to get involved. Just film everything, okay? So he's sitting there. At a certain point, the car blacks out. The car loses power. Now you have a black SUV in the fast lane on the 110 freeway. It's bad, okay? You're getting anxious, okay? You're watching it through his camera. You're watching it through the Netflix crew's camera, watching his reaction and everything. Every time a car passes, you just hear the sheer speed, and you get more and more anxious that a car is going to just collide with this thing and take it down miles down the road. At one point, a car does make contact. It smashes the back taillight, but we're still in business, okay? The car is still fine. There's not any major damage. We're okay, all right? About maybe a minute goes by, right? Tensions are definitely rising. And then the car gets hit head on by an SUV while he's filming and immediately bursts into flames. We're talking a trail of fire as this thing is hurled hundreds and hundreds of yards down the freeway, okay? It is a freaking nightmare. And immediately when he's filming this, you see it through his lens and he goes, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. He puts the camera down and does the number one thing you don't do, which is get involved. And I gotta tell you, right now, even as I'm saying this, my heart's getting a little pumped up. It is super adrenaline packed, all right? He runs over to this vehicle. This vehicle is on fire, all right? Fully engulfed. The whole back end is in the front seat almost at this point. The Netflix crew is trying to help him, all right? They're trying to get this guy out of the car. There is a driver in the car. They pull him out of the car. He is dragging him away. As he's dragging him, you hear pops. You hear the tires burst. You hear more stuff getting ignited on fire. Okay, this car is about to explode as he's pulling this guy away. He is not caring at all about filming this. Meanwhile, on scene TV, Mr. Big Time News Company, one of their stringers shows up. He's filming this whole thing. And they're filming the whole thing. So you get to see this as a viewer. It's very terrifying, okay? Like, you are right there with Austin. This is horrifying. He's trying to make sure this guy's okay. They got ambulance crews on the way and everything. And he, to be fair to his point, he did call the police at the beginning of this, before the car even got hit, saying, hey, there's a stalled car on the freeway. So he did try to look out for this guy. Now he literally has saved this guy's life. At the end, there's this whole business side to this thing, right? Like, he's still shook up, all right? And they're talking shop with him. On-scene TV is talking shop with him. Obviously a rival studio, and they decide that they're going to combine their footage with Austin's footage of the shot of the initial crash. So they literally, you get this crazy story that goes on the news where you have the initial footage of this car getting, impacted and it basically engulfed in flames, combined with Austin, who's then saving this person's life. It is crazy. And honestly, it's a story arc that kind of carries over the entire series and how Austin deals with this incident. It's a trauma, and there's a lot that goes into that story. Obviously, you have the story of everyone else and all the other incidents that happen, but that is in the first episode.
Wow. You have painted a really good picture of what this episode is like.
Right? It's so intense.
You were giving me anxiety just listening to you in a good way.
Again, as a viewer, you're like, man, I'm just eating that popcorn up. Like, this is intense. But at the same time, you're feeling a little guilty because this is a real incident that unfolded. This isn't Hollywood. This guy literally almost died.
That's what people love to do. They love to rubberneck and they love to. That's why they're doing this, right? That's why they're filming and stuff, right?
Yeah, to a degree. I mean, I don't think he planned on ever getting involved to that degree, and obviously he could have been seriously injured or killed doing that. But it's just so insane. And I mean, again, this isn't the beginning of the episode. The beginning of the episode is chill. They're like, all right, we got an accident, or oh, there's a house fire, blah, blah. Totally chill. His brother, we've been hanging out with his brother, who's the owner of the company, and they're just chilling, doing their thing. And then he gets this phone call, and it just seems so crazy to me because in the phone call, he's talking to his brother and he's like, man, I don't know. I need to talk to you. A lot of stuff's going on right now. And it's just it's so crazy because in that moment, his brother has no clue what has just unfolded. But we've been there as an audience member and seen the craziness that's just unfolded. I don't know. It's a very interesting insight into how, I guess, yeah, I don't know. It's a really good show. I hope that painted a good enough image for people, and hopefully I didn't take more than a minute and I just spoiled something for you, but really check the series out. It's gone completely under the radar. It's not been featured on any of the, trending or anything like that, but it's a really well put together show. It's very well filmed and documented, and man, it is a thrill ride. It really is a thrill ride.
I'm going to check it out. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Yeah,
because it sounds really good. I mean, it sounds like I have an adrenaline rush watching it, which sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm glad I convinced you. I mean, I feel that scene alone, man, I feel would convince most people. But man, it is just powerful.
Something that's just as dramatic, that's currently out is This Is Us. Which
really, just as dramatic as pulling someone from a burning vehicle, risking your very own life in front of the cameras.
It's not an adrenaline rush type of drama, but it has its drama. I mean, crazy shit goes down.
Different kind of entertainment. If that's too much for you, if your heart palpitations are so much that you need a pacemaker after my vivid image, maybe this is the show for you. Tell me all about it.
So This Is Us. It's season 1 is currently on Netflix. At least it is in Canada. Hopefully it is everywhere else. Or you could probably find it somewhere online. And season 2 is currently airing. It is a drama about family. So definitely not as exciting as rubbernecking car accidents.
No, but it's something that we can all relate to, though.
It's something, yeah, it's a lot more relatable. I mean, there's drama about family, connections, hardships in life. Mandy Moore is in it.
Wow, she is. Honestly, I feel like the last thing I remember her being in was Entourage as herself, as Aquawoman, but she's not Aquawoman now. So, but in the fictional world of Entourage, she was Aquawoman.
I didn't know that. I don't follow Entourage.
Also, Entourage had Warner Brothers as the studio that was making Aquaman, which is the actual case in real life, which is kind of funny.
That is funny. I really don't want to give too much away about it, though, because, I mean, there's something really, really fun that they do with it that, you know, you don't really expect from TV shows. And I think that's why that this show is making such a big name for itself, is the way that they film it. And I'm going to give it away just a little bit, I think. It kind of goes back and forth between, I think it's like, you know, the 70s, and then it goes back to present day, and it goes back and forth telling the story and filling in gaps. And so you're getting to know these characters as they were little, and you're getting to know them as they're adults.
Okay, I don't think you gave away anything, but you definitely made me want to watch this, though.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Because it's something that I didn't know. I do feel like this show is definitely one of those shows where it's almost like, don't hear anything, just go see it.
I think
just
you should go see
it.
it. Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like, you know, it's a nice meaty show. The first season's on Netflix. I think you guys got a week till the next podcast where we give you another suggestion. I think you should go ahead and check out This Is Us. If that's too many episodes for you to watch, or maybe you're looking for something more thrilling, then go ahead and check out Shot in the Dark on Netflix as well. And that's only 8 episodes. So, but I think those are some really good suggestions. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in to the Film Revered podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Film Revered. Be sure to like our Facebook page, also at Film Revered, or check out our website, filmrevered.com, so you can get any and all updates, find out who's going to be on the show next week, which we're actually going to do right now, Tiffany Vochazer. She's a super talented up-and-coming VFX artist who has about 26 credits under her belt. And it's only been a year and a half since she's been in the industry. Some of the most notable would be Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Get Out. She needs to get on out of here with that career. She's making us all look bad. Anyway, she is our next guest next week. It's going to be awesome. Thanks so much. Check out the shows, and we will see you next week on Film Revered Podcast.